Building customer service. So things to avoid. We're going to kind of focus on some of these things we don't want to do, like we did with some of those negative terms. Insider jargon, acronyms, or bureaucratic speak, right? We get in the habit of doing this, especially when we do shop talk, right? I'll have to look on KPP for that, something like that. People don't know what the heck that means, right? So you just want to be cognizant of your audience and make sure that you're using language that they're going to understand. Let me check the vendor site for that, right? Something along those lines. Getting feedback and doing nothing with it, that's bad. If somebody says, hey, I'm going to go right to the next one of failing to notify them of changes. If the feedback you get is, the last time I dealt with you on this, it went on back order and nobody told me I had to call back, let's not do that anymore, right? I mean, this seems plainly obvious, but when you get feedback from customers, don't get defensive. Take it and try to take it as something that you can build on. Failing to notify customers of changes is a big one, right? And that's positive and negative. Let's say we thought something was going to be 2 weeks out, and all of a sudden we found out we're getting it a couple days early. Let them know. That's a win. Take the win, right? Give them a call. Hey, that thing that was going to be 2 weeks, I found it at another dealer. I can get it for you. Or conversely, this thing that was going to be 2 weeks, I just heard from the vendor, it's going to be 3 weeks now. Tell them right away. The sooner you can convey it without them having to ask, the better. Not helping customers navigate a policy or a procedure. That there are certain policies that we have in place that we are going to have to follow, but we need to help them with it rather than just stonewalling with it, right? This is, warranty would probably be a good example of something like that, right? Like, are there ways that we can help them navigate how they handle those things? Another good example would be if we need a PO in order to put something out there. Martin Marietta in Iowa has basically said, you do not get to do anything without a PO, even if the site guy says that. We need to help them rather than just saying, I can't process this order without a PO, right? It's, hey, I've been told, you got to be careful how you word that stuff, right? We need POs to process this. How long will it take you to get a PO? I can contact the vendor. I can get this going. Just let me know when I have that PO. Is a better way to say it rather than just kind of stonewalling with it. With apologizing, it's much better from a language standpoint to, rather than just saying, I'm sorry, to thank people for their understanding. They take it a little bit differently, right? So it's thank you for your patience as opposed to, I'm sorry I made you wait, right? If you say thank you for your patience, they're like, yeah, I'm a patient person. Thank you for recognizing that, right? As opposed to, sorry I made you wait. You're like, yeah, you made me wait. What the heck, right? So minor little tweaks like that can help reframe it. And refusing to act in order to CYA. I think we have all experienced that at some point in time in dealing with somebody where people are afraid to do something because they're worried it's the wrong thing. One of my favorite quotes ever, and it's been attributed to a number of people, so I'm not sure who originally said it, is in any situation you have three options. The best thing you can do is the right thing. The second best thing you can do is the wrong thing. And the worst thing you can do is nothing, right? You should always take action where you can. And doing nothing is generally the worst option. I think that was attributed, when I heard it, it was to Patton. So in the case of like in a battle, you definitely don't want to do nothing, right? So, but it's kind of a good mantra of take action where you can. Doing nothing is usually the worst option. All right, group activity number 2, trigger words. So again, same groups. These are words that are generally going to trigger a negative response or a negative feeling from a customer. What are different words or different ways of saying these things, different ways of phrasing it that will come across better? Break out into your groups again, get some lists going. We'll reconvene in a few minutes and talk about it. All right, we'll come back together as a group. I want to emphasize that there are lots of correct answers. I was telling somebody that there's no wrong answers, and there definitely are wrong answers. So be careful. But there's a number of ways, depending on context, that you can have correct answers. Yeah, exactly. So really, we're looking for better ways to say this. So I'm going to do the same thing we did with some of the other ones. We'll go to each one and just kind of go to each group and get what your response was. So policy, this is a big one. And I just want to be really clear. These are all terms we use regularly without even thinking about it, right? Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them we're using. And these are what we want to think about is ways that we can convey the same information using different words so it comes across better to the customer. You're still conveying the same information. We're just using different terminology because this is stuff that makes customers automatically put up their defenses and recoil a little bit. So what did you guys have for policy? Process? Okay.
That felt a little bit lighter than policy, is less rigid.
Yeah, policy, the big thing is it feels like a brick wall that they just ran into. How about you guys?
Guidelines are like steps that you have to follow.
Okay.
Not necessarily a policy, but there's guidelines out there that you do need to make sure you're adhering to.
Yeah, makes sense. Process instead of policy? Makes sense. Over here?
Kind of said the same thing.
Similar thing? Okay. Makes sense. Can't.
Unable.
Okay.
Trying to no avail.
Trying to no avail.
I've explored the options.
Explore the options. Okay.
Exploring the options.
Yeah, we said the same thing, just trying different options and stuff like that.
Okay. That's good. You guys are going to love the ones that I have for this stuff. Sorry, I understand.
So this one we struggled with a little bit because we thought I understand, like showing that empathy
Yeah.
was good, but adding to it, like, hey, I understand, like you've got that job that's not going to get finished, or that machine's really screwing up the rest of your crew. So just saying, yep, I get it, sorry, man. Like just elaborating on that a little bit more.
Sure. What do you guys have?
Pretty much the same, but adding like unfortunately here is so they understand you need to feel that more too.
Yeah. Makes sense.
The apology is good, and then add what can we do to do better
Yeah.
in the situation.
Yeah. And again, the answers that I'm going to throw up here are context dependent, so keep that in mind. How about you guys? What'd you have over here?
Yeah, just providing, like after you apologize or say I understand, like adding like what a different solution could be.
Right. That's a big one, right? But.
So for butts, so sorry, I lost my place.
Unacceptable. Next group.
We did.
And or because?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. What do you guys have?
However, or alternatively, or on the other hand.
Yeah. Again, we're just trying to find different words to convey the same information.
Alternative.
Same idea?
However.
However, okay. You should have.
For next time to make it easier, let's, I don't know, the fleet number stuff we were talking about.
Sure.
Having that ready to go.
Yeah.
That's a lot smoother.
Okay. Yep. Same idea.
I would suggest.
I would suggest that's another good one to do.
For future reference.
Okay. Good. Good.
We tried to shift it more on us, like we could have, or did you / did we look at this?
Yeah, I think the real key thing here is we're not going to dwell on the past and beat somebody up for something that happened, right? What can we do moving forward? Let's not focus on what could have been done in the past. Let's avoid it in the future. The only thing we can do, going back over here to start. Oh, did I not give you enough time?
No, we did.
Okay.
What we could do is this, but I can look to see if there's other options, just to be sure.
That's good. That's good. Yep. What you guys have?
We have limited options, but let me speak with my teammates.
Okay. Yep. Leaving it open a little bit.
What we could do is
Good. Yep.
We can do this, but let me look at other options to see what else we can do.
Yeah. The real key here is when you say the only thing, it feels like we're shutting down the conversation, right? Same with, realistically, even if we go back to policy can't, These are very definitive. The conversation's over. We're ending it right here on a negative, right? We want to leave it open a little bit. Back order. This one, I'm sure we've never said to a customer ever.
We said ETA.
Okay, I caught a couple of giggles because we've all done it. What'd you say?
ETA or lead time.
ETA or lead time? Same idea?
Same idea.
Same idea?
How many days out?
Okay. Yeah, these are all good. The word back order, customers have been conditioned to, that means I'm never getting my dang part. Again, I'd probably recommend leaving it a little bit more open. And where we really get in trouble with back order is when we say it without looking at the other options first, right? Something that we always struggle with is if a vendor has a stated lead time. This might happen with Komatsu, and we quote it without actually calling to find out the real lead time, right? A lot of systems will have standard lead times loaded, and you can quote that to a customer, and they're like, what do you mean 2 months? You make a phone call, you find out you can have it in 4 weeks, right? Still not great, but
Set up like that, they had an 81-day lead time
yeah, exactly. A lot of vendors do
for
that.
everything.
Yep. So in their systems, they just have a standard lead time. And if you just go to the website, you're going to get the standard lead time. You don't want to quote that, right? Maybe it's right, but man, think about it the other way. What if you say it's an 81-day lead time, you call the vendor and they're like, oh, actually that's 120 days. Now we look worse, right? So always making those calls.
Is a working one. I deal with a
Yep.
lot of after the fact phone calls or emails from customers who got this. You know, either PSSR gets ordered, the customer got the pricing from the vendor. You know, you guys got to develop the knowledge of what vendors do this. Some of them have standard. Their system just always says 6 to 8 weeks. Even when it's sitting on the shelf because somebody didn't update the inventory or the nomenclature, you know, we have the same internal struggles. Make it a practice. You know, make it a practice when you encounter that to know who to call or know what to do before you even respond. It'll likely eat a lot more of RMS's time if you just, you know, blurt out or email that crazy long lead time that hasn't been double checked with a human before you do it.
Situational dependent. Completely agree with you, though. We should never take it as gospel, right? And a lot of times, I mean, the other part of it is qualify what the customer needs, right? If they don't need something till, hey, I'm you know, just getting my parts list together for this winter when we do the overhauls, maybe we don't need to scare them with a long lead time. So the examples that I had here, policy, here's what I can do. So reframing it, right? So let's talk about what we can do instead of what we can't do. You guys kind of took that one to say using the word process instead of policy. I like that too. That's great. Here's the process, right? So it gives people a little bit of that education as to how we work and helps set expectations, but it isn't as rigid as using the word policy. Can't, can, right? So this is, again, here's what I can do, not what I can't do. Just trying to reframe it. Instead of saying sorry, saying thank you, right? Sorry you had to wait. Thank you for your patience. One says, you wronged me. The other says, I'm an awesome, patient person, and they recognize this. It's those weird little psychological nuances. No, I don't know. I can find out. Let me look into it. Let me see what I can do, right? But I'd say the stronger point of that is the no, I don't know, right? I don't know, I don't have that information, I can find out. The I can find out is the important part. And none of the answers here were wrong. So everybody had right answers. Instead of using but, using and. A couple people said that. That's a really good one. You should have. You guys all had variations on this. The example I did is what others have found helpful. So what other people in this situation have done is this, right? That's a way of kind of indirectly saying this is what you should have done because this is what other people do, but it's indirect, and that's the important thing. The only thing we can do, here's an option for you, right? This is a good option. I think the best option in this situation is this. Again, it's more spinning a negative as a positive. It might be the only thing we can do, but if you frame it as the best option for them, it just kind of changes the framing all around it. And instead of back order, let me explore other options is going to be better. And again, this is more directed towards that initial contact where you go on the vendor site and it says it's 6 weeks out. It's like, when do you need this? Oh, I need it in 2 weeks. Okay, let me see what I can do, right? And maybe what you can do is 6 to 8 weeks, but they need to at least know that there's some effort there and we're not stamping it like back order, which, as somebody pointed out to me, is exactly what our vendors do to us. So that's just what it is. So positive actions. The last time we kind of talked about negative actions. Ask questions, probing and general questions. We don't want to ask yes/no questions, right? Instead of saying, it's a 2-week lead time, does that work for you? That's a yes/no question. The better question is, when do you need it, right? And we should be asking people that all the time. Usually the answer is right now, right? But having some of that, I think expediting stuff is where that comes up a lot, right? I need this right now. Okay, it's $1,800 to next day air it to you, or it's $900 to 2-day get it to you. They're probably going to pick the other, but they might say $1,800 is fine. It's worth it. Displaying empathy and active listening kind of go hand in hand. Again, empathy is not sympathy. Understanding the difference is difficult. Michelle, as you pointed out, people are calling us when they have problems. They're usually not having a great day and just decided to order some parts for fun. Usually something's broken. Give a recommendation, provide a takeaway, go above and beyond, follow the amaze principle, right? We want people to be amazed with the service, not just impressed, and definitely not well above kind of the baseline expectation. Expectation is what they're going to get from anybody. We want to have a better level. Reflect, effort to show understanding. So this is a good way to show that you're actively listening. Repeat stuff back to them, right? Reflect back what they're saying to you. Hey, I'm really jammed up. This thing broke. I got to get this done by the day. Even just replying that back to them. Hey, I understand you're down. You got to get this back up by the end of the day. Here's what's going on. Just so that people know that you're actually listening to them. That's kind of one of those active listening skills. Lead customers to discover options they may not have considered. Help them connect the dots. I think we can all kind of relate that back to different scenarios. In fact, let me put that to you guys. What are examples where you have had a customer who has called, you've led them to a solution that maybe they didn't think of when they had called you initially?
So back to Tom's example, your example of letting go of a sale to help a customer.
Yeah.
And when it calls and people call, want to see if we have a filter, and we don't, it'll be for some brand that we don't do a lot with. But if I can cross it to a Napa or a Wix or something, they can
Yeah.
do a local close to them wherever their job site is. That's making them move around.
That's a great example, right?
I've had one with bucket teeth, Esco teeth.
Yeah.
That we didn't have, and they had to have it that day. And just knowing that Rexco in Des Moines is an Esco dealer, and I know the parts guy out there. I called them, asked them if they had it, and they had it, and they just sent them their way. So we lost the shell, but we helped them out.
Yeah.
So,
Again, you will build an incredible level of trust with a customer if you're willing to do that, right? Now, I'd rather we sell it to them if we can, but there's a balance there. We don't want to, push people to our competitors, but at the same time, tons of trust there, right? I know if I call Jeremy, he's going to get me what I need, even if it doesn't benefit him directly. That goes miles and miles on that stuff. Any examples from this half of the room? Yeah.
I had a customer on December 26th, they came up to our store, they needed a hose.
Yeah.
And they stopped at one place and they were closed, and they came to us because we used to make hoses.
Oh, sure.
And I explained that we don't
Yep.
anymore. But I'm like, let me make a couple calls, and before you're driving these places, let me just call and make sure they're open for you, and he's like, you'll do that? It's like, yeah, it's fine,
That's huge.
So it just helps them out, and it makes us look better.
Absolutely.
And, I'm just trying to help them a little bit. So.
Absolutely. Makes us the easy ones. And they're going to call us for stuff that maybe we carry that they didn't know we carried, right? So that's another piece to it. Give the customer options. I think we can beat that one to death, but we never, it goes back to being rigid versus being flexible. Let's give options where we can. And never assume. I'm going to keep going back to the customer says they need it right away. make sure they need it right away by giving them options, right? And maybe they do, which is fine. Acknowledging their question and concern is important. This is kind of goes back to not blowing people off. Explain why. Give a little bit of why on why we're doing things. And then, yeah, common courtesy. Name, please, and thank you. So, the little cartoon here, if you didn't read it, it says, always let the client have his way after you've convinced him that your way is his way. Which is kind of the art of the salesmanship, right? So, closing the call correctly. Again, the most important contact points are at the beginning and the ending of the call. We've talked a lot about the beginning, but write stuff down. And a great way to close out a call is to summarize it. So, talking about using a pre-printed card. These things are great. I like these. It's uniform, it's standard. I'm open to coming up with a different format, but right now this one's good. It works for us. But it's not a bad idea at the end. Let's just verify it. Again, we don't want people having to call back to give us, we don't want to call them back rather, to get information that we already have, right? We want to make sure we have their name, their contact information, the company they're with, the serial number, all that pertinent information, and then always say, hey, anything else you need? Right? And this goes to the follow-up, and I did also put a note in there that we should be utilizing dial pad. Last thing, and this is a pet peeve of mine, always let the customer hang up first. You might think they're done talking and they aren't. It's not worth the risk of them thinking that you hung up on them, because you might have finished the conversation and like, oh wait, one more thing, as you're going click. So always, just as a general rule, try to let the customer be the one to hang up.